Python pals, this is Prof G. Let's get pushy with buttons featuring the Raspberry Pi Pico series boards, including the Pico 2. If you're new here, welcome. You might want to check out the playlist to see how we got here. In an earlier lesson, we worked with the built-in buttons on the CircuitPlayground Bluefruit, and that was fun. But what if your board doesn't have any programmable push buttons? Well, we can connect them using a breadboard or by directly wiring them to the board. So in this CircuitPython school lesson, we're going to look at different varieties of buttons, we'll explore how buttons work, we'll wire up some buttons, then we'll learn how to code in CircuitPython for some button responding goodness. Python programmer, this CircuitPython school lesson is all about buttons, so it's time to press on. Buttons are digital inputs, and there are a lot of varieties of buttons. I've got this display outside my office at school showing various button types and just a few that you might encounter. So some are meant for a breadboard, different types can have a different tactile feel, they can come in different sizes, and there are also these arcade-style buttons that are meant to be wired up. These usually have a lip on them and a screw on the other side so that they can be screwed into a mounting hole on a case, for example.
新年快乐.
These buttons also come in all sorts of sizes and shapes. Now, most buttons are referred to as momentary push buttons. These are on as long as they're pressed, release them and the circuit is no longer connected, but there are also these latching on-off buttons, which are really more like switches. These buttons act like a toggle, making an electrical connection when they're on, and they stay on until the button is pressed again and it's toggled off. Some even have lights to indicate when they've been pressed. If you have a button with a light, then you're going to need some extra wiring to accommodate the light. We'll skip the lighted buttons in this tutorial, but let me show you how to wire up the three most commonly used buttons. Now, there are a few approaches to wiring buttons, but we're going to use what I think is the simplest approach. So we're going to use just two pins, ground and a digital signal. And we're going to use only two wires and no physical resistors. We can do that by programming what's called an internal pull-up resistor. I'll explain the internal resistor concept later, but here's what your wiring should look like. And I've got three basic button types and three diagrams to show how this would work, but all three of them are basically the same. So this is a two-leg button, this is a common four-leg button, this is an arcade-style button. These two can be plugged directly into the breadboard. This one has a separate cable, but in all three cases, one leg goes to ground and the other leg goes to a digital pin. And in the Raspberry Pi Pico example I'll show, I'm going to be using pin GP15. That's this pin here. So my students have one of these tiny buttons, the 6mm tactile slim buttons. They're sold in packs of 20, and they have two legs on them. So one will be for ground, the other should be connected to the digital signal pin. And again, buttons have no polarity, so it doesn't matter which goes to which. So you can plug this button into a breadboard like this. Make sure you line your jumper wires up with the legs on your button. Sometimes this is tough to see. And when I press the button, a connection is made. The signal wire reads the electricity passed to ground. It reports this as a low voltage reading. And in this build, when this happens, I turn all the LEDs in my strip green. Similarly, when I lift my finger off, electricity is not flowing across the legs of this button, and the LEDs turn off. And this diagram here is meant to show what's happening inside the button. When it's not pressed, there's no connection made between the legs, and when it is pressed, the legs are electrically connected, and we can read this as a 0 or false, and when that happens, I've programmed the NeoPixel strip to light up. Now there's also this kind of button with four legs, very common. Usually the legs that are furthest apart are connected to each other, so these legs here that are curving in on each other are the same, while these ones are opposite. And the ones diagonally across from each other are opposites too. So if you use a leg on this side for a signal, you can use either one on this side for ground. And usually to make this easier to remember, if I have a four-leg button, I usually straddle the ravine in the breadboard and I put ground on one side and signal on the other. Now another interesting thing to note, normally the ravine cuts off columns that are above and below each other on the breadboard, but since these legs are connected, then all of the holes above and below the two legs that are connected are also connected. Now this diagram here is also meant to show what's happening inside this button. Here where it's not pushed, here where it's pushed. And finally, here is one of the arcade-style push buttons that my students have. Now we connect these using these arcade-style quick connect cables, and we slide these metal crimp connections over the terminals on the buttons. It's sometimes tough to do, be careful, you can find a strong friend, sometimes pliers help, and then you can put pin-pin jumper wires, one on each side of the JST connection and the other side of the wire into your breadboard, and if you needed to for a more permanent connection without the breadboard, you could even cut off the ends of this cable and solder each end directly to your microcontroller. Now in the earlier CircuitPython school videos, we worked with two buttons built into the CircuitPlayground Bluefruit or CPB. Remember those? They were button A and button B. But be aware, with the circuit that I showed you that connected a button using the digital wire and the ground wire, the button code is not going to be the same as the code we used with the CPB. The code is going to be a bit different. So what is the same is that we'll import digital I/O. That's because buttons are digital input devices. Then we'll declare a digital input-output object. I'm going to call mine button here. The signal wire is on GP15 on my Raspberry Pi Pico. You can use the same code with any other CircuitPython board. Just make sure that you choose a pin that can be used as a digital input and that you put that pin's name in here. Then we set the button object we created above to read digital input. We do that with button.switchToInput. But inside the parentheses is where things get different. So on the CircuitPlayground board, we set the input with what's called a pull-down resistor. But when working with buttons wired up with a ground wire, we'll be using a pull-up resistor. So in between parentheses, we're going to pass in pull equals digital IO dot capital P pull dot all caps up UP. And I'll describe why in just a moment. Just know that this is the code that you want to use if you're going to wire two wires to your button, one ground and the other a digital input pin. You do not want to copy the code from CPB examples and use it unchanged. Now here's our test code, and another thing to note. On the CPB, we knew a button was being pushed when the button's value property was true. But for buttons wired up this way with the ground and digital input pin, when the button is pressed, the value property will be false. I know that seems kind of backwards. Why is this the case? Well, when the button is pressed, we read a voltage drop as the circuit connects to ground, and that's reported as button value equal to false. Now, if it's hard to wrap your head around the electronics of this, just remember, ground wiring to a button, use pull-up resistor, and the button press is detected when the value is false. So let's try this out in code, see it in action, and after we write our code, I'll show you why pull-ups are important. And here's a quick look at the wiring I'm using for this example. This button signal wire is GP15. That's the pin in the upper left when the Pico is oriented this way with the USB on the right. And the NeoPixel has power connected to VBus, and it uses signal pin GP16, which is this one in the lower left. So let's code. I'm going to start with a comment, pico-button.py, and we're going to import board, time, digital IO, NeoPixel. And then we're going to create a digital in-out object. We'll call that button. So we'll say button equals digital IO dot digital in-out. That's capital D, capital I, capital O. And in parentheses, we're going to pass in board.gp15. That's the digital input pin that my button is connected to. If you used a different pin, make sure that you enter that here. Then we're going to make sure that we declare the button as an input device. So we're going to say button.switch_to_input, but in parentheses, we're going to pass in pull equals digital IO dot capital P pull dot and in all caps UP up. Remember, we use an internal pull-up resistor if we wire our button to a ground pin and a digital input pin. Use the ground pin. Use the pull-up resistor. Then we'll just declare a NeoPixel object. We'll call this strip, and we'll do it all in one line. Strip equals NeoPixel.NeoPixel capital N capital P, and in parentheses we'll pass in board.gp16, comma 30, because there's 30 LEDs in the strip. And before while true, I'll print button code is running, and then while true colon, then indented. And then inside of our while true loop, if button.value double equals false colon, remember button is pressed when value is false. And if that's the case, we'll fill a strip with green with strip.fill and between double parens 0, 255, 0, then outdent else colon. Remember, this is when the button is not pressed. And if the button isn't pressed, turn off all the lights with strip.fill double parens 0, 0, 0. Then I'll outdent with a time.sleep and in parentheses 0.2 for 0.2 of a second. And you know what? Why don't we put some print statements in here so we can see what's happening in the console as well. So if the button is pressed where button.value equals false, I'll print button is pressed, button.value equals false. And in the else clause, I'll print button is not pressed, button.value equals true. Now let's open the terminal, save our work, get into TO, and we see that button is not pressed, button.value equals true. But let's press the button. The console says button is pressed, button.value is false. Now release. Back to not pressed and value true. Press false. And you can keep trying this. It works fine, just as expected. Nice work. Now to show you what happens if we didn't use the pull-up resistor, I'm going to comment out this line here, button.switch to digital input with the pull-up inside the parens. So I'll just put the hashtag in front of this line. So now I haven't set a pull-up resistor, so I'm going to save my work. So now take a look at what's going on in the console and take a look at the Pico. I'm not touching the button, but I can see that the button value fluctuates between true and false and the lights are flashing. Now yours might fluctuate a bit more or less than I'm showing you here, especially if you move your hand closer or farther away from the wires, but we're definitely not getting the reliable true, not pressed off reading that we should be getting when I'm not touching the button. Now users of the original Raspberry Pi Pico and Pico W likely see this fluctuation. There is a chance if you're using a Pico 2 that you might not see the flashing. So the internal wiring of the Pico 2 is a bit different. The external pins are the same, but the possibility of fluctuation is absolutely there, even in the Pico 2, even if you're not seeing the flashing. You still need that Pull.UP code uncommented, so if you have a Pico 2 and you don't see the fluctuation, don't think you don't need the line you commented out. Trust me, you do need it, keep it in there. But in terms of the flashing and the need for Pull.UP, what gives? Well, this is what's referred to as floating or high impedance state. Now, the value for the pin isn't high or low in this case. It can fluctuate. It can change based on the electrical radiation it reads from the room, or even if your hand is touching the wire. Now watch what happens if I push the button. I get the false pressed and the light turns on. And if I hold my finger down, the lights remain on. So pressing the button works. I can reliably read the low value. Our problem is the reading when the button is not pressed, and I need that to consistently report a high state. So the way that I fix this is by adding this internal pull-up resistor. I don't need to put a physical resistor in. This is something that's built into most microcontrollers, and by adding this pull-up resistor, it's going to make the button seem like it's in a high state when it's not pressed, so it continues to pull up the reading high. And that'll get rid of any floating readings, any high impedance readings. It will remain high when it's not pressed. True, when you press it, it's going to be false. But if you forget the pull-up resistor and you're using button wiring with a digital pin wire and a ground wire, then you won't get a reliable reading for when the button is not pressed. So one way you can think about this is when we add a pull-up resistor, it's like we're saying, hey, digital pin, you're all over the place. Take this pull-up, I'm going to make you high because ground always tells me it's low. So we're done with this code. Why don't we save this as pico-button.py to our CircuitPython school folder and close the external tab. Now there's something that I don't think I need to show. It is possible to wire things up using a power wire instead of a ground wire and using a pull down resistor instead of a pull up resistor. I don't see any reason to introduce that because most folks are going to be using the exact wiring scheme that I've shown you. So just remember, if you're using an external button with signal ground wiring, then use a pull up resistor and the button value will be false when pushed. Once again, we had a lesson full of big learning. We learned about different kinds of buttons, how to wire up a button using 2 pins, ground and digital in, how to code in CircuitPython to read and respond to button presses. We showed different kinds of buttons in use, an arcade-style button and a tactile slim button attached directly to a breadboard, but the wiring in the code was the same for either button. We showed why you need a pull-up resistor with a 2-wire ground and digital pin wiring scheme, because that digital pin will float or show high impedance and can't be read reliably, but pull up fixes that and makes it seem like the digital pin is always high until pressed. So feel free to practice this if it's tough to wrap your head around the electronics, wiring, and logic. I'm sure you'll get it with practice. And you should feel like your engineering skills and wiring knowledge are increasing, as is your ability to control your builds in CircuitPython. Keep hacking!